welcome back to Simply Living It. Today's video, I want to talk more about homeschooling, of course. I want to talk about some things that I'm working through as a homeschool mom who was public schooled. I want to talk briefly about getting out of that. I have a hair stuck in my lotion, sorry. I want to talk briefly about getting out of the public school mindset, public school mentality. Like, I think I'm finally realizing, actually, I know this. I know now that we are a solid 10 years in to this homeschooling thing, I know one of the biggest struggles that I have had, and I've talked about it here before, and I'm just really realizing it ever more now. One of the things that I really struggle with as a homeschool mom who was public schooled, I keep going back to that, I'm not dwelling on that, but I think it makes our perspective a little bit different, and I feel like I'm trapped ever more in that public school box and mindset. So what I have been going through, or I guess one of the ways God has been refining me as a homeschooling mom in our journey for our home and family. If you've watched my channel, you know that I go like in a cycle where we're letting go and then a cycle of bringing in. And this year, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things will change in our home and what homeschooling looks like for us for a number of reasons. One of them being co-op, one of them being I will have a high schooler, and then one of them being my mentality and my mindset for where I'm at right now. So that's what today's video is all about. I'm just talking briefly about some of the things I've struggled with as a homeschool mom. One of the things that has been the biggest thing, and it actually hasn't been comparison. It has not been comparison. It's not been fear of the unknown or fear that I'm going to screw this up or I'm going to do it wrong. It's actually been the public school mindset. Trying to get myself out of that mentality. That has been honestly one of the biggest struggles for me. Like, I feel like a butterfly that has just got let out of her cocoon, and I'm out and about and I'm fluttering and I'm doing all the things and it's going great, and then I see something or I hear something, or for whatever reason, my mind will get the best of me and I will start getting scared and I will want to retreat back to that cocoon because that's what I know and that's what's normal and that's what's natural for me and I know how to do it. So I know the battle of our mind, right? The battle of our mind. I know that's been something I've struggled with, and I don't have any real practical tips in this video because I'm working it out. But I want to talk about it because I think it's important. In this space, a lot of times it might seem like things are great, grand, and wonderful, and you know how social media is, right? This isn't just a highlight reel. I want to share all of it and some of the things I struggle with, which truly is getting out of the public school mindset. And I have friends who were homeschooled, and I talk about this with them. And actually, the convention that I just went to in California, I've talked about a couple times. I've shared it on Instagram, kind of our experience. I had so many things confirmed through listening to these moms just like me, filling all these convention halls, hoping to be encouraged and to be fed spiritually and all of it. We show up for the encouragement. We show up for help, for guidance, for these mamas, these women, these dads who've gone before us homeschooling to kind of help reassure us and remind us that there's no right or wrong way to homeschool your kids. Everybody's going to do it different. I say that all the time. I do rest in that, and I truly believe that, and I know that. I know everybody does it different. I don't struggle with that. What I struggle with is I need it to look like public school. But it's something I struggle with. And so now, bringing that in to where I'm at, I can see how that mentality has kind of shaped some of our homeschool, unfortunately. I'm going to say unfortunately because no, this isn't a bashing public school thing. This isn't all about homeschool is the only way. For our family, it is the only way right now. But this is all about just the realness of homeschooling and the things that we let sway and influence our decisions, if you will, in homeschooling. So my public school experience has very much influenced how I homeschool my kids. But I know I'm feeling that pull, that draw to be set free from that. And I keep praying, God, like if this is what you have for our family, show me what it can look like. Show me how it can actually be. Show me that it doesn't have to look like, give me that confidence. That's my prayer, like that I will have that confidence and that bravery and that courage that it takes. We already stepped out and we've been doing this, right? Like we've already done that. But now I want that extra dose to keep me in that mindset of release, if you will, and being released to do it our way. But for some reason, I find going back to the old habits because it's what I know. I know what it looked like in public school. I know what it was like. I know what our days look like. I feel set free, and then I'm like a recluse, and I start carrying it all on again. Before you know, I'm doubling up on history, and I'm doubling up on language, and I'm doubling up on grammar, and like, why do I do this? I don't know. But I want you to know, if you do it, girl, I'm with you. Because I do the same thing. And this year I am like vowing and praying and being so intentional about doing it differently. And that homeschool convention I went to, I keep talking about it because it was really, truly life-changing for me. Not only on the journey there, I went with 2 other girlfriends. We drove. It was a 15-hour drive-ish, give or take. And the whole way there, we talked about all the things homeschooling, what's on our minds, what we're thinking, what our vision is, what we want for our homeschool year, like for our whole journey, like our legacy that we're leaving. This homeschooling thing, I want my kids to graduate and to want to raise their kids the way we did it. Not that we're gonna do it perfect, that's not what I'm saying. But I want it to be such an amazing, eye-opening experience for them that they're like, yeah, that's what I want to do for my kids. That's what we want to do. We want to repeat it. We had such a great time with Mom. Not sunflowers and roses and rainbows every day. That's not what I'm talking about. But I want it to be a positive experience for them and a life-giving experience for them, and to set them up in the way that they're going to go, to raise them up, to train them up. What is that verse in the Bible? To train them up in the way that they shall go. That's my heart. And I know I feel such peace even just sitting here saying it. But then when it comes time to implement it, I get scared. I get cold feet and I'm like, ooh, but what about this? And what about that? And I'm not saying I'm going to totally unschool and ditch all the curriculum. That's not where I'm going with this, because we will still have curriculum in our home. But I'm feeling pulled and drawn in so many different directions that are not what would be the typical homeschool curriculum lineup, if you will. Like, I want it to look different for our family, for our channel. Like, it's not going to be the typical, yes, Gather Round will still be here and will be very, very much unit study focused, and the interests, the things that my kids are interested in. We were out getting firewood we have a wood burning stove here at the house, and then the cabin is also a wood burning stove. So we were out getting firewood, and we were talking with the boys about trees. And one of the boys was like, well, this one looks like a red fir, but it's not a red fir. Well, this one looks like it's an aspen, but it's not an aspen. You know, like, we're going through all the trees and the different types of trees and what makes them different. For me, that was a light bulb. Ding, 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 ding. We need a nature study on trees. We need to know that when we go out looking for firewood, these are the characteristics of a red fir. This is what a red fir looks like. This is what you're getting, right? Things that are relevant to our life. That is something that will serve them in their future. They're campers, they're outdoorsmen, they're gonna have all that type of lifestyle and continue that in their life. I want to help them. I want to lean into that. I want to give life into those areas of their interests and their lifestyle. Like, that's what we do all day, every day. So why not do a study about it? Why don't we learn this? So that's kind of where I'm going with all of it. And the reason I'm sharing it is because if there's one of you mamas who might be trapped in that too, maybe this can be encouraging to you. I won't say I don't deal with comparison, because that would be a total lie. There are a lot of times that I see moms doing amazing things and I'm like, I wish I could be that mom. I wish I could do that, but I just can't. Or the planner moms with all the organized planners. One of the gals that went to California with us, she's a very dear friend of mine, and she bought this beautiful planner and it was so detailed, and I'm like, ugh, that's like a gut punch. I could not live my life that way. And that's okay. That's okay. That's why I'm here sharing this, because we all do it different. But I personally, on this journey, am ready to let go of the box, the public school mentality, because that's been my thing. That's been the load I've been carrying, is getting out of that mentality. I listened to Rebecca Spooner's convention, I will just say convention. It was her recordings that she did on Facebook. If you didn't know, she did do it. She's the creator of the Gather Round Homeschool curriculum. We've used that for 3 years. But anyway, she did an online thing. You can still listen to her messages as well. But it was very encouraging because she was talking very much about the school system and testing and how it's all, the whole basis of education as a whole is messed up. And this isn't public schools are terrible and blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm saying. But just education as a whole is so not what it's supposed to be. And I was really encouraged by those messages. I've only listened to the first two. We listened to one on the way to California and listened to one on the way back from California. And they were very encouraging to all of us mamas that were in the car that are homeschooling moms. And it just kind of gives me that confirmation that I know I'm feeling pulled to make it look different. And I feel peace about that right now. And I feel peace about all of it. But I know myself. I know my habits. I know that I will get pulled back into that. So one of the things that I really, really, really want to do is limit what I'm taking in, because I know that's half the problem. The noise that I'm consuming. I want to limit where I'm getting information, what is consuming me, where I'm filling my time. And I know that sometimes too much of, if not always, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Too much of something good can be a bad thing. Homeschool curriculum, it's good. We need it, right? To a certain extent. Like we need to have math and different things like that. I cannot come up with my own math curriculum to save my life. And honestly, half of what my boys do in math, they'll probably never use, but it is what it is. What I'm saying is, I feel like the pioneers who did this homeschooling stuff, I'm not saying their life was easier. I'm not saying any of it was easy. But sometimes I feel like all the options that we have, that feeds my personality because I love change. I love new things. I love trying new things. I love seeing it all. Not because I think something's going to be better than what I'm using, but what if we really love it? And I've loved most of the things we've used in our home, but I mean, like, what if we really, really, really love it? Not the fear of missing out, but what if this is the one thing that could make it amazing? What if we try it and we love it? And it's a whole new world for us, That's like my mentality. And so none of which is a bad thing, but there are so many resources out right now that so many of us moms have the availability to get our hands on. I'm diving into the unit studies. I'm diving into things that we're interested in and going that route a whole lot more. And I want that to shape our homeschool. I'm not even talking about like testing or anything like that. I do feel like at some point testing is important. I mean, our kids need to know how to take tests. They need to know how to fill out a resume. They need to know how to write some important papers. Like, these are all parts of life that we have to know how to do. And teach them how to do it, yes. I don't want to set my kids up for failure, but I also don't want to kill every single desire in them to ever learn or try anything, or the whole idea and concept of homeschooling. It's taking all of it out of, sorry, there's a fly. I know where I'm feeling led. I know where I want to go. I know where I feel peace in our home and in our homeschool. I don't have the practical steps to lay it all out to tell you this is what I'm going to do, but I can tell you that I'm going to limit the ways that I am being fed and what I am consuming, because information overload, too much information out there, can be a bad thing, to the point that it's obviously not helpful and it's actually damaging, to where I'm over consuming all the things. And in our home, we're over consuming all the things and adding it all in to where it's just getting to be totally the opposite direction of where I even want our homeschool to be. And I always say to myself, like, this sounds so dreamy. How does this actually work? What does this actually look like? Because to me, it sounds so dreamy and at times unrealistic that my kids are going to love learning and that they're going to have all these interests and they're going to tell me what they want to do and we're going to learn that way. Those are not my kids. Just finish this up and then I'll go, like mow the lawn or play with the chickens or build something or take apart something. That's my boys. They're not going to sit and just be like, Mom, I really want to learn about blah, 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 blah. It's just not my kids. If you have kids like that, that is amazing. My kids are just like, no, I asked them, what do you really want to learn about next year? Like, what is interesting to you? I like what we're already doing. Okay, great. Like, that's what I'm working with. That's my boys. So what I do, I will give them 5 options. Which out of these 5 options sound interesting to you? Which out of these 5 options would you like to learn more about, or do you want to dive into? What do you think we should do next? Those are practical ways that I get their feedback, but it's not just like an open-ended question where I'm never getting an answer because they're like, I really don't care, Mom. Like, can I go take apart my motorcycle and fix my shocks? That's them. Can I go work on the speakers in my pickup? Like, they want, yes, that's great, and that's what I want. But also when we're in our home during our learning time, I want to lean into that also. So anyway, that's a long explanation of all the things, including where I'm at in our homeschool as we're finishing up this last year and just kind of reflecting on all the things. We've ended it so softly and so beautifully. Other than that, I'm just sitting here. I'm marinating. That's the word I've been using for everything lately. I am marinating. I'm sitting right where I'm at. I'm marinating in these feelings, in all of the information that I took over the weekend at convention and all the things, all the ways that I am feeling drawn and led to, and I'm marinating in it and trying to figure out what that looks like for my family and how I'm gonna play this out. So that's what I'm working on, getting out of that public school mentality. That's been probably the thing that has the most hold on me in all of our years of homeschooling, is stepping away from it and leaving it, like slamming the door. Like, God, take this out of my mind. Like, I wish I could just erase everything that was public school from my mind. And then I would have nothing to base it on, and what we would be doing would be perfect. I want that gone. I want all that gone. So that's what I'm working on. That's been my biggest struggle. I would love to hear from you if you're brave enough, because it takes bravery to step out and share this type of stuff. It's real, but it's what I'm dealing with and what I am trying to step out of to a certain degree. So if you're brave enough to share in the comment section down below, I'd love to hear from you. That's all I have for you in today's video. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in our next one. Bye.